right. Welcome to All-Star Fantasy Recap Week 10. We're back after our bye week on Week 9 there. I spent a little bit too much time partying over my defeat of Joe. I am the man, the myth, the legend. Matt is back in the house again for our Week 10 video, and I'm joined by Dan and Caesar. Dan is out of the video right now, so why don't you come on this way, bud?
I don't got enough. I'll be in the fridge.
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
You're good?
Not too
You're
bad.
good? All right. You excited being here this week?
Oh yeah.
Back, see?
Oh yeah. Happy to be where we're at. I think.
I think all three of us are right now.
Yeah.
I think
Top four.
So
rounds it out. So.
yeah. Well, I didn't want Eric here because he beat me last week, but that's all right. We'll get into that a little bit later. Actually, we'll get into that now. Going into our recap of last week here, first matchup we had myself versus Eric, and I thought I was going to do something in this one. It looked like I was early on. And then Aaron Rodgers actually had to score points in the Detroit game that meant nothing, and DeAndre Hopkins and Tyler Eifert screwed me. But what are you going to do? It happens. So I lose to Eric 108-77. Our second matchup of the week, we had Joe, and you know what? I didn't even let you guys talk about that. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
You want this one, Caesar? Or?
The matchup for what? Eric and
Amy,
yeah, I don't know. It pretty much like you pretty much summed it up perfectly. I think you would have had the win if your top guys would have came out and showed up, But that's pretty much it. I would say.
It happens, right? Yeah. So I mean, we're 1-1. I already beat him once this year though too. So that just means we'll have to have a grudge match in the playoffs. But getting into that, our second matchup of the week, we have Joe and your dad. So, and Joe actually pulls one away after, I beat his ass the week before. He needed to get a little bit of retribution, even though it means nothing at this point. Joe's eliminated from playoff contention, which just feels great.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, the win in that matchup doesn't mean anything, but the loss was a pretty bad defeat for my dad as far as that goes. It makes him have a must-win this upcoming week against you.
Yeah.
I think you guys have that matchup. We'll get into that in a minute. But, I mean, it's, Joe's kind of picking it up. I think he's got like two of the best running backs in the league right now, as hard as that is to believe. That being the bottom half of the league, you wouldn't expect the bottom half of the league team to have the two of the best running backs, but Gurley's picking it up, and Peterson's playing like he's...
And it definitely helps, towards the end of that year, especially the playoff teams, when you got a low seed that's picking off your top teams there.
Exactly.
Too, so,
yeah.
I mean, kudos to Joe. I hope you win out the rest of the season. I don't even know who you're playing. But getting into our third match of the week, Caesar, this is your matchup here, actually. And you sneak it by Brian after we did not... Let me tell you, we were all sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings on Sunday, and we did not think that was going to happen.
My thoughts, pretty much, my team just, week in and week out, as you can see, it's either going to blow up or I can just barely get by. And, when Brian's got OBJ scoring his points and just Cam Newton was his team, so closer than what I would have liked. And, of course, Dalton had to have his first bad game of the year against the Texans. Just overall, just how my wins have been all year, either blowouts or just, a win's a win, So.
Yeah. And let me tell you this, though, too. This is after you went 0-3 to start the year. You've been 5-1.
Yeah.
To go through these next couple weeks here. So, I mean, you're really cranking it up. That's another team that I pissed off by beating them. So, all right, getting into our fourth match of the week here, we have Matt versus Mike. And this one was kind of one of those ones where it was, these are both teams that are eliminated at this point.
More or less.
I think Matt and Joe are hanging on by a thread, but barely.
Yeah, I mean, at the point before last week, Matt was still kind of in the mix. I think he was the only team with the record that he had, which was like 4-5 or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, a 500 team getting in there right now.
It's unlikely. You got to be under. And Matt doesn't have like a bunch of points to really speak on either, so you can't be one of those people that has an even record and have more points. So that was a pretty crushing loss for Matt. But I think his season's over after that one. Mike's season's been over for maybe a week or two.
A while.
But he's been playing spoiler all year for some people.
Yeah, I mean, he played big spoiler there, and he's facing me this week, and Bortles didn't do good at all last night. So. Not that he could spoil my season. I mean, I'm going to be in the playoffs anyway, but nonetheless, I mean, higher seed,
Oh, I got you. Our last matchup of the week, though, we have Mr. Dominance over here with his 8-2 record, sneaking by Ricky. in this one too. He gets a 9-point victory over Ricky in this one, and Caesar, I'm gonna let you take this one on Dan. Okay, so.
I mean, I think pretty much as Dan just kind of I think every week we were taking someone else against Dan, and I think now he's finally proven that his team's the team to beat. But again, like in that score too, Ricky's team's just been fighting all year long. I think he's like maybe the top ones in scoring still.
Yeah.
I think he's still kind of fighting for a playoff spot too. So he's there. Just I think he had a couple injuries too, right? Ricky's team, I want to say. I'm not too.
Yeah,
Mount Charles, right?
Early
so,
in the season.
He's still up there. I think he's more so than Matt. He still has the little man, I should say, definitely fight for a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
But just overall, Dan's team to beat right now.
No, I'm definitely with you right now. And this is one of those situations where I think this definitely doesn't help Dan as much as it hurts Ricky though.
Yeah.
And with that scenario, so I mean, he's got an uphill battle here. I mean, he's tied for 4th right now, but he's the guy out of the playoffs.
Okay.
But getting into actually the playoff contention right now too. Our first one that we have Dan sitting in first place. So Dan's looking like he's going to be the number 1 seed going in right now. Second place we have Eric at 7-3. So I mean, the only thing that could really hurt you here is a loss and you and Eric tying.
Yeah.
Because then you lose a position there.
Right. Yeah. That would be. And I think Mike and I forget the last 2 weeks. Mike and Joe. I think the last 2. Joe's team's been picking it up, but I probably should have won this week against Mike.
Right.
The Edelman injury. We could get into that in a little bit. Brown's on the bye, so I don't know. It's kind of evening out a little bit. I might have some issues.
You might have a little scary week here.
Yeah.
So, third place though, we have Caesar now after his bounce back. He's the only team sitting at 6-4 right now. But another one of those situations though too, if the teams catch up to you, you're a little bit lower in the point totals than everybody else. So
yeah, I think I'm like in the bottom half of scoring. Still.
Right. Yeah.
I'm facing Eric this week, and I'm facing
the week after. So I mean, you got a pretty tough schedule to end the year too.
Yeah.
All playoff caliber teams.
We'll keep an eye out for that matchup too. That last week between you two, that could be a winner go home. Winner gets into the playoffs. Loser, it's shaping out.
I want to say though, if I beat Eric this week, I think that I might clinch the 3rd seed though,
that's
right?
True.
I have to for sure get a win.
At least the 3rd seed, yeah.
Right.
Or
you at least be in the playoffs.
Yeah, with one win.
Yeah.
But and then of course in 4th place we have me with my 5-5 record, which I'm not going to keep it that way for long. So
you're the highest in points.
I am.
Right?
No, I'm actually. We'll get into that here in a second. But I am the highest out of the remaining seeds left.
Out of the 500 teams, you're the highest.
I have 500 teams. I am the highest. So that keeps me in 4th place just for now, just right over the top of Ricky. The only other team that's in there is your dad still, but I think this could be the matchup between me and him. I think this could be a make it or break it thing to get in that final spot.
Yeah, that's a must win.
So I mean, whoever's losing there, I think it's win or go home at this point.
It could be.
But I will persevere to get into those playoffs. So
let's see.
Getting into the point totals on our scoring title. What do you guys think are the top 3 right now?
Oof, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Dan, Eric, you.
Dan, Eric, me. Okay.
I still think the top 3. I'm out of the top 3. I would have to guess. It's either you or Eric, number 1. I think. I'll say Eric, and then you, and then Ricky.
You got the right order there.
That's the right order.
That's the right order there.
It's
Eric,
real close at the top.
Eric, me, and Ricky. Eric's got 1,044. I'm sitting at 1,034, and Ricky's sitting at 1,026.
So you're all within like 20, pretty much.
Yeah, we're all bunched up right at the top there.
Yeah, that's gonna come down to the wire there, especially with you and Rick.
Yeah,
I mean, Eric's got the record, but you and Rick are both at 500 right now.
Right.
So,
all right. Well, talking about some of the playoffs, actually, we're gonna do a little bit of a new game with you guys too. We're gonna have these guys here make their power rankings for the playoffs. This isn't anything based off of record, points scored, or anything like that. These are all personal. What you guys think would be, the like a weekly power ranking almost. So,
okay.
All right. So why don't we? Who wants to go first on this one?
I could. do mine because I mean I think everyone knows who I got at 1, but I've been at 1. I've been the 1 seed for most of the season. I think Eric overlapped me sometime between the beginning of the season and now, maybe a week or 2. But I got myself heading into the playoffs as the number 1 seed. No doubt about it. I got upset a couple times by Mike and Joe, or by Brian and Joe throughout the season, but I could have been undefeated if I didn't get those 2 upsets. So, man, it's real close after that though. As far as, I mean, the Eric and Caesar matchup this week and the you and my dad matchup this week. We'll get into it, both of those obviously for the recap, but those are going to tell a lot. I'll just say as far as depth of team goes, I'll go with your team at 2. Even though you're not even top 3 right now as far as record goes, I think you still got, Hopkins, you got Jones coming back. If you can't get past my dad, you're probably out of it for the season.
Right.
But, it's time for Matt Ryan to show up and play how he's supposed to. And, Julio Jones is going to put up big numbers against, I forget who they're playing, terrible defense, but nonetheless. Colts, that's it. Yeah, because you're worried about the Freeman matchup against.
I put Eric. He's gonna run a train there.
So I'll have Eric at 3 and then Caesar at 4. But if Caesar wins this week, he'll probably leapfrog not only Eric but possibly even you, especially if you lose my dad. So my dad will be in the top running too. So that's why I've been saying about this league since the first week that I was on here. It's super competitive and things change by the week, and there's no easy weeks. So that'll be my top 4 though. Me, you, and then Eric and Caesar running it out.
Okay. All right, Caesar. I want to hear your opinions on your top 4.
I mean, for sure, Dan. I mean, like we've said all year long, pretty much he's the best team.
Right.
For that, I'm second one. No, I have to agree with him. It's pretty close. I'd have to go. I'll probably just go. I'm gonna go a little bit more based on the standings. I'll go more with Eric.
Okay.
On 2, only because just overall, just his team. Just when he needs to score, the scoring, they just blow up in no time. But that could change definitely after loss to me this week or etc. I don't know. I'll be honest though. I'll go with you, 3rd seed.
Okay.
For the 3rd power ranking because just overall you got a deeper team, but more so than me anyway. And I mean, like I said, it could change too with your loss, etc. But then I'll go me 4. But I think everyone's still kind of surprised I'm still here after you've been saying 0-3 start, 5-game winning, or was it 4 or 5-game streak, and then I lost to Dan.
Yeah.
I know I don't have as much depth as you guys, but I've been just getting lucky with these wins. So
sometimes luck's all it takes, man.
Yeah.
Just stick around there.
If you beat Eric this week, you think how will your rankings be then? You think you'll leapfrog Eric, or because Eric will technically still be ahead of you as far as because you'll have the same record, but he'll have more points. What do you think your top 4 would be? Do you think he?
I think overall, if I was Eric, for example, based on his record and how he's been doing all year, I'm an easy win in his eye.
Okay.
So if I win, I think I should overall. I think I take that better power ranking. So I think each game this year, I've been an underdog. So I mean, I'll take it as that.
Okay. So it might be like a little bit of a trap game for Eric. You think like he's overlooking you and sneak up and.
Considering I think he beat me already once, so I'd be it. So he's probably thinking it'd be the same thing, but we'll see.
Could be.
Okay. So I want to throw a curveball at you guys here too. Not being able to choose yourself, who's the one team that you think is going to win it all this year?
You want this one
there? Yeah.
You want this one first, or?
Yeah, I'll take it. I guess. Let's see. I don't know. You know what? I'll go if I think it's gonna stay with the Maltese fan. I think Dan might win it.
Okay.
If
Yeah, I think it's hard not picking myself in these things, especially being the 1 seed.
Yeah.
But, I think a lot of put you number 2 in the power rankings right now. I don't know. Historically, you've come up pretty small in big games this season, and I don't know. I feel like my dad. He's got a pretty solid shot this week. He's pretty plagued by the buys, by the bye weeks. He has Roethlisberger, Breeze, Cooks. All his receivers on the bye, and it's going to be a tough week for you. And you don't have anybody on the bye, so
my bye weeks are over.
I mean that's really going to determine. I'll say you got maybe the best chance just because Caesar and Eric, they kind of got a couple guys on their team where it's like if they go off, they're a dangerous team, but they're not quite the teams that you and I. I feel like you and I probably have the best drafts, like well-rounded teams.
Okay.
I think I put myself number 1 as far as the drafts goes, but guys like you and Eric are right around that same round 2 where you got pretty deep teams, but you see Eric if Rodgers doesn't come through and Freeman doesn't come through, his team's kind of carved. Whereas for me, if one of my running backs doesn't come through, usually I get picked up by my flex or my RB2 in that given week. So I'd say probably as far as depth goes, Hopkins and Julio Jones, they can go off at any given time, and if one doesn't, usually the other will, and kind of pick up the pace. So I'm gonna go with you. Again, it's splitting hairs, but
right. And just so you know, Joe hears that too. Guess what? Your brother even thinks I'm kind of coming for your belt. Ha 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 ha. Okay, but anyways, we'll get into our matchups for this next week too, and talk all the trash that you guys want to at this point because this is my favorite time of the show.
Yeah.
So I got a special surprise at the end for who I'm calling out this week.
I have a feeling it's not going to be much of a surprise, but
no. You might find it to be a little surprising. But anyways, getting into our first matchup of the week, of course, it's my show, so I always go first. We have myself playing Rick. And these are 2 5-5 teams right now. The projected points on them is 106 to 102 in my favor. I mean, this is going to be a tight knit matchup right now too. But ultimately, based on what you were saying too, I don't think it's going to be as tight as the score would say.
So based on what I was saying, as far as like the buys go.
Yeah, based on as far as the buys go and everything too. I mean. It's ESPN projected totals, so they're always crap to begin with anyways, but then I think just with the bye weeks that he has right now, it's going to come at an inopportune time for your dad, and I think this is going to be a matchup that I come through, I'm going to call it a 10-point victory.
10 points victory. Wow.
So,
okay. His running backs have good matchups this week. McFadden and Stewart, yeah, but who's his flex? He's got
Jeremy Langford.
They're playing Denver this week, which isn't that great of a matchup actually. But if
who are the Chiefs playing this week? Quarterback, right? He's got Alex Smith.
Yeah, he's got Alex Smith. I'm not sure. I think it's a decent matchup. He's projected to be like 15 or something like that. So, it's if he had Roethlisberger or Breeze, I'd say Dad's gonna win it. And if he had like Cooks to be coupled with T.Y. Hilton in there, because Cooks has been heating it up. It's just a terrible time for him to have all those bye weeks. I'll stick with the safe bet and say that you're gonna win. I don't think it's gonna be by double digits. I think ESPN's probably got it pretty close. But I would kick it down to not triple digits for either of your teams, probably like in the 90s or something like that. But say that you win by around a 5-point margin. But I think the difference is going to be that quarterback. Smith is a safe play, but he's not going to win you a week like Breeze could or like Roethlisberger could. So tough sledding there, tough luck getting those guys on the bye, and lucky for you, you not having anybody on the bye, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Exactly. Getting to our second matchup of the week, though, we have Matt and Joe, and this is honestly one of those no one really cares matchups because nobody's really in this one. Yeah. So I mean, the winner pretty much gets to hang on by a thread.
Yeah,
maybe
get a better seed in the losers tournament.
Yeah,
maybe.
So I mean that's about all.
Pretty much the only thing with that. So I'm talking to Joe on the side. I think if you win the losers bracket, you decide the draft order for next year.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Joe's fighting for.
Those are two teams that are definitely looking in the future and seeing that they could possibly. I think it's either pick the draft order or pick like how we determine the draft order,
right?
Like how we
Something
shot
like
the
but yeah, I mean, like you said, that losers bracket, that's going to be key going into next year too.
Right.
But as far as it goes, like I said, that's what those guys at the bottom have to look forward to, right? Is just maybe next year.
Yeah.
So in this matchup though, I'm going to take Matt just because I can't take Joe. No logic behind it, but just
there's no. I'll probably take Joe just because of his running backs are probably better than anyone's in the league. To be honest with you, right now, as far as the 1-2 punch goes, but
not to mention that injury to Le'Veon Bell really hurt Matt too. So
I'll go with Joe too on that one. And like you said, Matt's he's been kind of screwed with injuries throughout his whole team.
Yeah, and Bell was one of the monumental ones in our league so far. So
there haven't been too many monumental injuries this year though. So
Charles
and Bell, that's about it. So
I gotta admit though, him losing Alshon Jeffrey in that trade to me kind of screwed him.
I know, that definitely did. There was a couple ones that I think maybe Mike giving away Lynch and Matt giving away Jeffrey to you.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm looking at the Marshawn Lynch or Kendrick West trade I pulled
He's kind
up.
of winning that.
So
that's true. Yeah.
Let me tell you, man, you make more player trades than a freaking hooker makes STD trades. So it is insane how many you go through in a year.
You gotta admit though, like 0-3,
it saved your team.
Yeah,
so
I hustled, like where I'm at today. I hustled for my spot.
Yeah, a lot of those trades, I'm thinking in my head, what are you doing? But you know what? You use those players to get something else.
Look at Eric Decker. I traded Des Bryant for like Eric Decker and Victor Cruz. Cruz is out for the season, but Decker's like a top. He's like a borderline top 10 receiver.
I don't know how you got Victor Cruz to get in a trade. Who's that with you?
That was with Rick.
He got Des Bryant, and I got
Olsen. He got Des Bryant and Greg Olsen. I forget who you got.
We should play a game. Name all Caesar's trades.
Yeah, and then we'd be here till.
Might have to do that at the draft party. Take a shot at the draft party for every trade Caesar made.
Forget about it.
We're pretty drunk that day.
Oh yeah. Getting into our next matchup though, we have something nice for Ricky here though too. Heading into this week, he's got Brian.
Okay.
So the thing is, he's losing to Brian right now, but he only got one player piece out so far.
Yeah, and Andrews had a decent game last night.
Right. And to tell you the truth, I'm gonna take Ricky in this one too, just because I don't have I lost all confidence in Brian's team about 5 weeks ago. So Ricky though, even though he has a very volatile scoring nature some days, and he has the kind of the same problem I'm having where he just getting into shootouts with people and can't win. I'm still gonna take him in this one though.
Taking Ricky, yeah. I think I'm gonna take Rick too. To be honest with you, I don't think there's much to say on it. Brian hasn't really. He beat me a couple weeks ago, unfortunately for me, but hasn't really pulled off too many big wins. But he's trying to play spoiler this week, so.
I'll take Ricky too, because Brian, he's gonna keep it close because he's got Cam Newton still in OBJ. Those they're gonna give him like a 5-point margin of error right there. So it'll be a close one, but I got Ricky too.
Okay. All right. Getting into our next matchup though, I want to save yours for last year, so we're gonna go to Dan's matchup.
Yeah.
We have Dan versus Mike, and I think this is one that we really don't need to touch on too much in this matchup. It's gonna be you. I mean, I know you said Mike's played spoiler to a couple people this year, namely me, but let's just not even worry about Mike's 3 wins. I'm taking you in this matchup hands down, no questions asked.
Yeah, it's tough having you draft players and they have bye weeks. Antonio Brown on the bye week came at a bad time for me with Edelman getting injured for the season. Obviously, that's a huge injury for me, but going from last week having Antonio Brown and Edelman as my wide receiver 1 and 2 to going to like Landry and Amendola, it's a pretty huge drop.
But you got the right person if you're gonna have those bye week problems. You play in the right team this week, so.
Yeah, with Mike, but playing spoiler last week to Matt, he gets me a little nervous. I never don't pick myself, so I'll bet on myself. I don't think it's going to be as big of a blowout. I don't think it'll be a kick-ass of the week.
Yeah, I think it'll be. It won't be a close shave. I think it'll just be a standard kind of like 8-point win because it's Sharkhandrick West now, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He's gonna have he's probably one of the top 4 running backs this week. I think matchup wise and but no, just overall your depth is insane. You drafted Jarvis Landry. And he's been like a flex, borderline wide receiver 2 all year, so he's gonna be starting for you. Hopefully, comes up. Like Matt said, Amendola's a good guy to have on your team. I think overall. I think you got this. Could be a close one.
Could be a close one though. Yeah,
might get scared of it, but I think you got it.
I thought Matt was gonna beat Mike last week, so and that didn't turn out well for Matt.
Especially when Mike's starting like Willie Snead and he's starting off some guys that not much.
Kind of scratch your head. He pulls off the wins sometimes somehow. So we'll see this week.
All right, getting into our last matchup of the week though, we have Eric and Caesar. Caesar, I know you're not gonna like me for this one. I'm gonna have to take Eric here on this one.
It's fine.
Just sheerly for the fact is Eric finally decided to split up his whole DeMarco Murray Ryan Matthews tandem and his Arizona wide receiver split that he had going, and actually play real players with Jeremy Maclin and Devonta Freeman here. So unfortunately too, I'm gonna call this our ass beating of the week here. So just the way his matchups line up right now, he's got really good matchups. This just falls on a bad week for you, I think. Yeah. That being said, I still think you're making the playoffs at the end of the day, though.
That's a very good assumption. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna start talking crap like Eric did because the Achilles and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I'll throw that in.
Arian Foster's torn Achilles.
I'll throw that in there. Because But
he hasn't spoken to us, I think, since we said that.
I don't know. That was a 2-game losing streak after that.
Yeah. After he went on the podcast, maybe it's the curse of the podcast.
Curse of the podcast. Yeah, Joe comes on and then I beat him. Eric comes on, he loses.
Me and Caesar might be in some trouble this week.
It's a trend. Maybe.
When I came on, I think I ended up going on that winning streak after. So who knows?
See, I lost actually. One of my 2 losses after being on here. Not besides the one when I was a host. So that's something to think about. But I got a question for you, just out of curiosity. You say that you think Caesar's still going to make the playoffs, even losing this week, which means you think he's going to win next week against you.
No. I think he's going to be the 6-6 team in the playoffs. I think he's going to be the 500 team making it to the playoffs.
Oh, okay. So even with Joe's got more points than Caesar on the year, even with his low points.
I think Caesar will still make it.
But what's Joe's record? Is he 2 below 500 though?
No, yeah, Joe as far as record wise is out, but I'm just saying as far just to put how many points you have into perspective.
I think the matchups will play out the right way that you guys still making it in.
Yeah, but and to get feedback on my matchup, I am pretty scared about this matchup, Eric, because like you said, I've looked at that lineup, every other possible way I could adjust it for my team, and I got a kind of a crappy week in terms of matchup that 4 sets. Got a pretty horrible matchup this week, I'd say. Dalton just came off 6 points against the Texans. He's facing the Cardinals. I was joking around last night with these guys, but I don't know. Osweiler might make a starting nine. He might make an appearance in my team, or Mark Sanchez. But it being my team and how it's been going all year, I'll take me. But it'll be close shave of the week if I win.
Let me tell you, I'm still surprised you're still holding on to C.J. Anderson too. I'm surprised that you haven't dropped him yet or something. So
it's because you know what? Every year, you can ask these guys in basketball, football. If I drop a guy, they pick him up and he goes up like 30 points.
Yeah.
I gotta say you're welcome to Eric, mind you, because I dropped Devonta Freeman. I think everyone was kind of wondering how he got Devonta Freeman.
Yeah.
I dropped him, thinking, whatever, Tevin Coleman, because you were,
Michael Floyd.
Yeah, and boom.
There you go.
He's number 1 running back. So you're welcome, Eric.
All right. So we got through all the things we needed to get through today, and now is time for my favorite part of the show. The thing that makes me giddy and happy inside. Who wants to go first?
Sure. I'll let you go first. I think you've been holding in for a while.
Oh, I love holding this in. My call out of the week, and I am so ready for this, is going to go to Eric. Eric, your team is not that good. I know you're leading points right now, but let me tell you,
Even after he beat you last week.
Even after he beat me last week. But you know what? I beat him before, too. So that's a totally different story. When it comes to playoff time, when it comes to really matter, I'm going to come through in the clutch. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to take you out back and beat you like the little redheaded stepchild that you are, okay? And also to Joe. Ha 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 ha! I won. It's over. You shall kiss my feet and call me a fantasy football god!
Next week.
On the podcast. So, Joe, this is your formal invitation. Show up or don't, but it's essentially the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club for our league. But I'm so happy right now. Who wants to go? I'm done. Oh, and Arian Foster's corner killed. Sorry.
Yeah, that's always the period at the end of the sentence there. But for me, I was on the last time I was on here. We did call outs. I was at the top of the league and said that I let my play on fantasy do the talking for me, and I've done that this season. I'm the number 1 seed. That being said, I'm not really playing anyone this week where I could call out and be like, try to come and get me because Mike's not really in the playoff hunt quite right yet, but
give it another couple of years.
Yeah, maybe a couple of years. But if this was a keeper league, maybe if you wanted to keep Andrew Luck, but try that route again.
Willie Snead becomes top wide receiver.
There you go.
Keep Willie Snead, but for me, I think I'm gonna call out my dad and call him out to step it up and have a huge upset this week. I think putting you, who's been on this show, obviously talking like you're gonna make it to the playoffs without any second thought when you're just a 500 team week in, week out, and that's easy for us to tell. And I think if my dad went, like I said, like you said, and I agreed, this isn't exactly a winner go home because with how many points you have, I think you could still technically probably make it if you lose this week and beat Caesar next week. But he'd propel himself into a really good position, and you'd be kind of kicked down a little bit as far as that goes, and be reeling after being on the show week in and week out, and assuming that you're gonna blow by teams like that. So I'm calling out my dad. Hopefully he has a good week. I didn't pick him this week just because of the bias came at a terrible time, but call him out, see what he can do this week. I'm hoping.
And I'm gonna call out the whole league because, hey man, guys, what happened? You guys had me at 0-3. You guys were talking crap about me, and then you guys were.
And then we pretty much helped you back into it by hitting the accept button on some trades.
What happened, guys? Because
guys don't accept trades with Caesar. I'm the only one who hasn't done it this year. Don't do it.
That's true. I think you and Dan were the only ones that didn't trade with it.
Freaking poison, man.
But what happened, guys? You guys, everyone's talking major crap. I was down there with Joe in terms of the former champs, not even making it, sniffing the playoffs, and everyone was laughing deep down. I said I'm still gonna make the playoffs, still win the title. It's looking, kind of bleak at the moment, just playoff wise, matchup wise, but. I'm here. I'm here where I said I would be. I'm a former champ, and power. We were talking about power rankings earlier. How Matt. You gave Matt the closest. If you don't win it, you got to remember too. If I'm in it, I have the most playoff experience.
Yeah.
So you got to remember that.
That's true.
In a 2-week playoff format, Caesar's got the.
So I'm not gonna do a heel or a face card. Because Eric with the Achilles, so I'm just gonna be respectful with this. That I'm gonna kill you guys with kindness. That's what I've done all season long. So I'm just gonna give my best match, give my best performance and see what's up. But you guys are on notice because I'm back.
All right, just I gotta get out of everybody else too. How does it feel knowing in our hearts already that Joe will not have that title next year? His days are already numbered on it. How does it feel knowing that stupid belt is going to be is going to be out from around his waist?
I have to admit, Joe's my boy, but it is cool that he's not going to win it again this year because he did beat me last year. You know, I'm never going to forget that Andrew Luck going like 0 points when I needed him after all, you know. But
Andrew Luck to screw a team over.
Yeah, exactly.
In
So
real life and in fantasy.
you know, so it is deep down. It is nice that he's not winning it again. You know, but damn, you know, I don't think anyone could have predicted. You know, Joe just not even sniffing the playoffs. You know.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, looking at his drafts, it wasn't, you know, like a eye-popping type players, but I mean, still.
His receivers from the get-go, I would say, just kind of let, you know, like, I mean, he just kind of took what he got right there. But Matthew, like, you know, when I think one matchup, he could have used Matthews to win. I forgot again. I think against you even, and like Matthews, of course, blew up on his bench after like 6 weeks of doing nothing.
Yeah,
you know,
I think that was his matchup.
But anyways, we've reached the end of the show. We'll be back next week. Joe will be here to kiss my feet and proclaim me a fantasy football god that I am. But that's a whole other story. We'll get to that next week. Hope you enjoy the week. Set your lineup, set your trade blocks, do whatever you need to do at this
Trade
point.
deadline's coming up, I think, in a matter of a week or two, I believe. The trade
Something
deadline.
like
so expect some trade requests.
Expect some trade requests.
Maybe there's gonna be like 3 or 4 coming in.
Right.
So you know.
3 or 4 per team, bro.
Yeah, per team actually.
But remember, as always, have fun, ridicule Joe, and stay frosty, bitches. We'll see you next week.
Arian Foster's Achilles.